Entrepreneurs wear a lot of hats, and if you're wearing a secondary hat of a content creator, you definitely need a content plan. So here are 10 tips for creating a content calendar for your small business. Planning your content ensures alignment between your customers, your ideal customers, and your message. It's really easy to get into a groove of chasing trends and abandoning your message entirely. So here are 10 tips to creating a content plan that is both flexible enough that you can go chase trends like you chase butterflies, and also structured enough to make sure that you're always on message. In this video, I'm going to share some content creation tips that every small business owner should know. We'll talk about how to plan your social marketing content like a pro. And at the end of the video, we're going to talk about what you don't know about content planning that's actually probably most likely going to hurt you. Roll it. Now, if I were to give marketing advice for a small business owner just getting started, I'd have to break it down into 3 simple pieces of advice. I'd have to say that number 1 is to define your goals. If you don't have defined goals, it's really easy to fall off track. I know this to be true because I was like that. I was growing specific platforms, but because I never defined goals, I actually stagnated and didn't notice. I wasn't paying attention to the things that I was trying and should have been putting energy into. But if you set goals, that way you could actually have a marker in which to follow. You have something to measure each and every one of your efforts against. You can decide, is it moving you towards or away from your goal? And that's an easy way to get rid of actions that are wasting your time and start focusing energy on the ones that are making the most progress. My second piece of advice is, when it comes to your content calendar specifically, is to start with a template. There are so many different options out there. Starting with a template really helps get rid of that overwhelm, that kind of anxiety that comes from staring at a blank page and the cursor's just flashing at you. If you start with a template, probably it's from someone who has used that calendar before, has found success in it, and maybe even teaches you the way to utilize that spreadsheet or that calendar or that template in the first place. Therefore, giving you the ability to just start taking progress steps instead of trying to learn and trying to think about how to plan out a template that works. You can always test different ones. I personally went on a little tangent adventure and tried like 8 or 9 different content calendars and figured out what was working best for me. But it was a great way to visualize and to see how different people think in order to find a solution that works best for me. Third piece of advice would be to know what platforms you're on and not waste your time trying to be everywhere. Not every platform has your ideal audience on it, and spending a lot of time chasing an audience that isn't actually there is a waste of your time, energy, and resources that could be better spent focusing where your people actually are. Question of the day, my friends. I'm curious if you have a content planner, if you have a content calendar, if you even plan your content, even if it's just scratching it on sticky notes. I am super curious, so let me know down in the comments below. My 4th piece of advice for you guys is to start by planning your entire year first. What are the big themes that are happening throughout the year that you'd like to cover? Think about what are the big launches and new products or offers that are coming out. Where are your opportunities for collaboration with other creators or other JV partners? Put the big boulders in stone first. Plan those in first and take that big bird's eye view. Now, if you've ever done this experiment before, I definitely recommend you do it again. If you've never done it, do it. Just do it. I want you to get a handful of larger stones and a couple of medium-sized pebbles and then a whole bunch of sand. And I want you to get a big vessel of some sort. Now, I want you to fit all of the stones, all of the pebbles, and all of the sand into the vessel at the same time. Pause this video, go do that, and then come back. All right, for those of you who did the assignment, did you put your rocks and or pebbles in first, or did you put the sand in first? Let me know down in the comments. For those of you who put the rocks in first, you did the assignment correctly. You understood that when we take a bird's eye view when it comes to our content, we're able to put those big boulders in place first, and therefore the sand can settle in nicely. If instead we try and think of the individual posts that we're putting in, and then we try and fit that into the greater context of the bigger events that are happening, other launches and other things that we really want to accomplish, we might not have enough room. We might not have enough bandwidth. We might have gone completely off topic. So make sure that you start by planning your entire year first. Plan the big boulders, and your content planning process will be better and more effective moving forward. Number 5, take that yearly plan. You have all the big themes that you want to cover throughout the year. Then go in and drill down on the topics that you want to cover. Have a process flow. Yes, of course, if you've joined us for the year of content training, we've covered all of those, the pillars, the processes, the questions, etc. But if you haven't gone through that training, you're going to need to come up with individual topics that fit within each of the themes that you're using throughout the year. Tip number 6 is to take vacations. But when it comes to your content, you don't need to constantly be in the grind of creating content, because you can leverage and utilize pre-existing content and make it evergreen. You can create fresh evergreen content. Okay, what does evergreen mean? It means that it's content that isn't tied to a date or event or a current event or something that's happening. You're not trying to ride a wave. It's not a trend that you're following necessarily. It's just solidly proven good content. You can have those in the bag or saved for when you need to go on a vacation, or you have an event, or you're scheduled at the same time as your live show, for example. You can put a pre-recorded piece or an evergreen piece of content in there, making sure that you have a decent sized reserve of that type of content. It will allow you as a business owner to actually take vacations. Crazy idea, I know. Tip 7, already kind of touched on it, is to leverage and reuse pre-existing content, to use content you've already created. So if you have a live show, for example, you take that long form piece of content, you can chop it up and create content, derivative content from that original piece. Or if you did a training for your group or someone else's group, you can utilize pieces of that training or the entire piece of training and use that as a new piece of content as well. Long story short, you have options, my friends. And one of those options I hope you exercise is to subscribe here on the channel, become a visibility hacker, get all of our new videos delivered straight to you when they are hot off the press. Tip number 8 is to decide on your publishing frequency. Are you publishing every day? Is there a certain time of day that your people are more active? Of course, if you don't know these answers off the bat, test out content in a variety of different frequencies and scheduling frequencies. So different times of day and different numbers of posts per day and different numbers of posts per week. Try it out, see what your people engage with the most, and then next month, go back and take away the pieces that weren't getting a lot of engagement and add in to what was getting more engagement. You'll start to understand your people more and more. Tip number 9 for you guys is to look at your plan. Look at what you've been doing. We set goals at the beginning. Now look at the action steps you've taken in order to get to where you are at the end of the month. Compare your goals to your reality of where you are right now. Figure out what actions worked, what actions didn't work. Remove the ones that didn't work, double down on the ones that did, and create a new plan for the following month. If we do this on a monthly basis, we're going to start being able to really grow our platforms in a different way. We'll be able to grow our networks, our businesses, our engagement, all of that stuff, and ultimately have more customers and a better understanding of who our customers are when we create the right kind of content. We're not just creating content for the sake of content, we create content for the purpose and for the intent purpose of creating connections with our audience. And that connects to my 10th tip for you, is to monitor how your content's received. Look at if you post photos and photos of topic A or photos in a style A or B, how does your audience react to that? Understand these trends on a micro level as well as a macro level, and you'll see so much more success. Bonus bonus tip for you guys, if you're like me and you can get easily sidetracked and run down rabbit holes that take up your entire day when it comes to content creation, or you get stuck with those roadblocks and you're not moving fast enough and you're in that death spiral of artist block or whatever, easiest way to move past that is to set a time limit. Literally set a timer on your phone, get one of those fancy hourglasses, whatever you need. Set a time limit, because content doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to take action. And an easy way to do that is to give yourself that extra pressure. I know that when I was writing papers in university, for example, no matter how much time I had ahead of time, the best efforts that ever came out of me were always in the last few hours, in that massive crunch time. And so if you need that kind of fire under your butt to create content quicker, then definitely set yourself a timer and let me know how that goes down in the comments. We talked a ton about content. We talked about systems and putting them in place today. So if you want to join us for the 1 year of content training that we talked about earlier, then I definitely recommend you check the links down in the description for our visibility vault. In there, you'll get access to our year of content training, the next one that comes up at least, as well as other tools and resources that are going to help you solidify your marketing materials, make sure that your message is in alignment so that you can create content for the purpose of connection. Joining the Visibility Vault is absolutely free, so do not hesitate. Links are down below. I will see you again in our next video. And until then, my friends, remember, I love you, be excellent to each other, and just go live, because your people are out there and they are waiting for you.